I'm going to tell you all something that I have been keeping a secret, and sometimes my friends know, some of my friends don't. I was laid off in March. Yeah, I'm another one of those people. I am another statistic. I hate it. After watching a couple of videos of other people explaining their experience, I thought everybody's experience is so different. And I watched the video the other day of a woman who was completely in the dark era that I was in about a month and a half ago. She's going through that stage of my depression right now, and she made her video. I just felt the anger, the disappointment in her video, and I was like, I'm past that stage now. So let me just talk about how I got where I am. Did I see the signs? Yes, I did see the signs. I saw the signs back in 2023 when we started to expand, and I told myself, hmm, something isn't right. Like, why are we expanding so much? I have a master's in business administration, and something they teach you in business school is to do something called a SWOT analysis. And a SWOT analysis essentially helps you really determine like what are the strengths and weaknesses, threats, and internal and external threats. And also like what is the projection, right? So it makes you look at like the macro picture, like the big picture of this company. And I remember thinking to myself, we don't have the need for all these people. Like what we do, we don't have a need for all these people. This is crazy. We are definitely overhiring. And I remember telling my supervisor during a supervision meeting one time, I am concerned about my job. I am concerned about my role. I think we're overhiring. I am really scared about this expansion. When that conversation took place, I was told, don't worry about it. And I it's not like I didn't worry about it. I was just kind of like, I still don't trust it. Something is up. Come December 2024, and I start to get a little bit more concerned because I'm starting to hear things about the funding and how iffy it is. Come February, and we get called into a meeting, and about 75% of us are being laid off. And I'm like, oh my God, I was not wrong. I was not wrong about my like assessment. I definitely didn't feel like it was wrong for me to bring it up. But here we are now. I am on the chopping block. I'm part of that people that are being laid off. So it is what it is, right? So initially, when I got laid off, I was like on cloud nine. I was like, I'm going to do so many things. I went to the dentist, I went to the doctor, I did so many things for myself. I joined a bunch of like food how would I say this? Like weight management groups. And I really worked on myself in cutting back on that food noise. As some of y'all have seen my other videos, I used to have a lot of food noise. It's gone now. It's gone because I literally went through a bunch of groups and just tackled like all of that. So I was literally on cloud nine. I was like, okay, I'm going to take this time to take care of me. I have been putting me on hold to do this job forever. I even canceled doctor's appointments before. So I'm going to make those now and take care of me now, right? I just felt like I went into a really deep depression, and now I'm finally coming out of it, and I'm finally like able to really function the way that I should. Let me talk about the finances because I think that that is by far like one of the biggest concerns that people have, and I don't blame them. For me, I have medical coverage through the Veterans Administration, so I was never concerned about losing my medical coverage. In addition, I have income coming in outside of my job, and so I basically felt secure with my finances. The separation package that they gave us was enough to hold me over about 8 to 9 months of rent and car payment and the basic essentials that I need. In addition, back in 2020, when I can't say the word, so I'm gonna say panini, when the panini happened, I started saving money right then and there. I just felt so scared about everything that was going on back then. And I saw people lose everything. And it threw me into you need to save a whole bunch of money real quick. And so I did have a lot of money saved up in the bank. And so that I knew that it would hold me over for a year. And not that I want to be unemployed for a year, but I knew that it could if push came to shove. On top of that, I told myself, listen, if you have to let go of your studio, let it go. You are going to be okay. I'll literally live out of my car. I will. I do not care. It's not, I will do what I have to in order to stay afloat. When I was employed, some of the decisions that I made back then really are kind of like playing themselves out right now. When I was working and I was having good income, and I had my work income, I had my other income coming in, I told myself, could I afford a one bedroom, a two-bedroom apartment? Of course I can. Yes, I can. But I'm not going to do that. So I got a studio instead. So I lived way below my means. And I mean, I learned to live with the bare essentials. I do not have a dining set. I have one couch, I have my bed, I have my desk, and then I have like clothing and everything else that I need. But I just did not acquire, like, I did not want to accumulate too much. And that is actually working in my favor right now because since I have to move out of the state, it's less things to pick up and go with. And I don't know how this worked out the way that it did, but part of me is really grateful for part of me that wanted to be really conservative with my finances when I did have a good paying job. As soon as I found out that I was potentially getting laid off back in December, I stopped going out to get pedicures. I stopped ordering DoorDash, Uber Eats. I stopped spending money on coffee. Let me talk about the coffee part because it's crazy. Okay. Now that I know how to make my cold brew at home, it's literally like I did the calculation. It's 75 cents to make cold brew at home. Okay. Based on my calculation. However, when I was e when I was ordering cold brew from, like, all these other places, it was, like, $5 to $6. I don't know. I think I was just scared to learn or I just didn't have the time. I didn't have, like, in my brain, I didn't have, like, one more, like, research thing to do or, like, another task, but now that I know how to make it, it's over. I don't think I'm ever gonna buy cold brew outside of my place unless I'm traveling or unless it's, like, a rare treat, but yeah, that was crazy. On top of that, just coffee alone. I started to cook a lot at home. I started to meal prep a lot more. I started to make different versions of chicken and stuff like that. And literally, the only things I have in my pantry, I don't have snacks, I don't have junk food. I have fruits, I have vegetables, I have protein, I have grains. Um, and I kind of stick to that. On top of that, I have always been a 5 gallon jug water user. So I purchased my water dispenser a long time ago. It heats and colds the water, and I just go get my own water, which costs me, I think it's $2.50 for 5 gallons. And on top of that, my ice cost me $2.50. So for $5, I have ice and water for a whole week because I go through it in a week. But that essentially cut back on my expenses a long time ago. So I was kind of prepared. As you can see, I was preparing to be laid off a long time ago. I call it my unemployment plan, is what I'll say. I had an unemployment plan, and that started back in 2020 when I started to make a lot of changes. So I started to cut back on a lot of stuff a long time ago. It kind of worked in my favor along the way. Again, living below your means is something you have to get used to, and it is a whole lifestyle. It is not you giving up this for that. It's you finding a different way to get your water. It's you finding a different way to be happy at home. It's you finding a different way to meal prep. It's all about that. So I will make it a confession that I had a friend that, well, I have a friend that has a Costco membership. And one day I told myself, I'm going to spend $300 on bulk items that are like, household items, toilet papers, shampoos, stuff like that. And until this day, I still have those things. But I'm going through like, my little stash that I got, and it was kind of worth it. So if you have a friend that can do that for you, go for it. Another thing too that I stopped doing is I stopped using my car. Like as soon as I started to find out these things were happening, I went and got a bunch of maintenance done on my car because I had to. It was that time. But then once that maintenance was done, like I haven't really touched my car. I would put gas in my car once a week. I have an SUV. If you have an SUV, you know that these are gas guzzlers. It is hard because they're like what, like 20 miles a gallon, and that's about it. And you're just like, man, that's a lot of money. So, anyways, long story short, I don't put my car on the road as much anymore. So it cuts back on the fair wear and tear, which means that I don't have to have as much maintenance on it. And also, it's a less chance of me getting in a car accident. And so I cut back on using my car by a lot. So let's talk about the mental health and the boredom aspect, the motivation. I will say that initially I had a lot of motivation to go take care of me. I I was going to, I had a Zoo Pass, and it's expired now. It expired in May, but while I had it, I was going out. I love the animals. I love people watching. I loved going to the zoos, the parks, everything. So I want to say until like mid April, I was just like on a high. I was just like going everywhere, doing things, going out for picnics. I already had learn to make my food at home. So I would like make my sandwich and grab some fruit and go to the park and just read. But then May hit, April, May, and mid June hit, and I just went into a severe depression. It was so bad because part of me really wanted to get up and do stuff, but I couldn't find the energy. I couldn't find the motivation. I felt horrible. I was just being really like hard on myself. All the applications that I had submitted while I was on this high after unemployment, I was getting back nothing but rejection letters, or I was going on candidate waiting lists and I was just sitting there. Nothing was changing. I'm still sitting there with some of these jobs. Even though I qualified for these jobs, I'm not going to make it because if I'm candidate number 6 and you need 6 people to quit, what are the chances of that happening? Right. So I had to face the music and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to start applying out of state jobs. And I think during that month, 2 months when I was deeply just depressed and I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes, I think the harsh reality hit me that I'm going to have to leave. And I just got here. I just moved back in 2020 to my hometown. And I didn't want that to be my outcome. But the reality is that I have to go back to school for my MSW and I really need to do what's best for me. And if I can't get a job here that is going to sustain me and give me good income and it's going to be fair to me and my skills that I've developed, then I'm going to have to relocate where somebody else can really appreciate those skills. And I was able to find employment outside of the state and I'm grateful for that. But I went through this really dark moment where I just in my head, I was just down on myself so hard. Being kind to myself during this time was not easy. I just went through a moment of like, you suck, nobody wants you. You think that you are good, but you're actually not. And then I went through a moment of why me? Like, did I suck so bad and nobody wanted to tell me? Was I that much of a bad worker and just nobody wanted to tell me? But then I started to go through the process of elimination. Like, if I was such a bad worker, how comes I never had like, like performance improvement plans? Or how comes I never had like these other things that should have told me that performance was low? I just didn't have proof of anything. I got stuck in mentally, I got stuck in a cage where it was neither leaning negative nor positive. I just don't know anymore what I meant to this company or to these people that I worked with. I no longer felt like it was good or bad. I felt like I was just there, the stuff. And all of the hard work that I did just got lost in translation. And I feel like a lack of accomplishment. And what am I doing with my life? You know, like what am I doing? Why am I working so hard to help people when it isn't helping me in the long run? I don't want to go into like trauma dumping, but I was decluttering one day and I was going through because I'm going to have to move and I'm like I'm just going to get rid of a bunch of clothes, a bunch of bags, a bunch of shoes, and I told myself this is a good opportunity to be generous. I have a dear friend who disclosed to me one time that while she was in a domestic violence shelter, she had absolutely no access to clothes. None. She had the clothes that she left with. She left with a couple of shirts for her babies. I had a moment. I'm sorry. Oh, as I was putting this clothes in a bag, I remembered her words. And I thought to myself, I have clothes that I've never even worn. They have tags on them. I don't know why I purchased these clothes. And I just thought to myself, I'll fit into them, right? But somehow, like, so I went from an XXL into a medium now. I had thought I'll be okay with wearing this clothes, but the time when I went from like an XXL to like a large, somehow I missed the in between, and all of this clothes was hanging there with tags. I remembered her. I remember what she told me, and I felt a sense of gratitude. I felt like giving. I felt generous at the moment, and I was like, I'm gonna throw all of this clothes and I'm gonna go put it in that bin for donations. And I did that. I must have donated like 3 bags of clothes, and I'm telling you all, these were like dresses, shirts, pants, shoes that I never even wore, shoes that are like literally still like attached with like the tag, handbags that I was no longer going to be keeping, even though they were really nice handbags. It's like I haven't used this handbag in like 10 years. Like, why am I keeping it? So I had a moment of this sucks for you, but people have it worse. And remember what your friend told you. And I think I felt happy after that. Like it released the endorphins in my brain. And then I started to feel I did something. I felt accomplished for once through all of this darkness that I went through for the last 2 months. After I did that, I felt so good. Honestly, you all. I love helping people. So for me, it was about the idea that somebody might need this to go to court. Somebody might need this to go to a job interview. Because it's not like it's like loungewear. It's not yoga pants. These are actual like slacks and like jeans. I don't wear jeans, but I don't know why I had them. I had dress up shirts. I had like work clothes that I had to get rid of. So I just told myself, I think that this is a good thing. And I like the idea of giving. And hopefully somebody finds that clothes with a tag on it and they feel like they can go do something productive, or they feel like they can go to that job interview. They're more confident when they go to court. They're more confident when they go outside and they're trying to meet somebody else. I just feel like hopefully that helps somebody. Hopefully. And it went to a shelter. It did not go to like Goodwill or anything like it went to the shelter. Let's talk about the difficulties of adjusting to this life of like not being able to do or live your life the way that you wanted to live your life. I hate the idea of having to relocate, you all. Like the idea of packing up everything is just overwhelming. And so what I did was I contacted a bunch of these. I filled out a survey online because I'm moving, but then I got bombarded and over like literally like harassed by like 20 companies, and I was like, oh my god, is there no moving companies? Y'all gotta find a different way to do this. This is literally borderline harassment. It's it's so bad, y'all. Like text messages, phone calls, emails. Like I was literally being bombarded, and it just made me want to go put a hitch on my SUV and rent a trailer from U-Haul instead of like using a moving company because I was just so overwhelmed. It was bad. Just the idea that I have to relocate and then being harassed about relocating was just like I'm not having it. I just don't want to do it. But I am getting rid of more stuff. I'm decluttering more and more, and I am getting rid of my furniture except for my bed because it's a adjustable bed and I am sort of attached to it. I'll just leave it there. But I am getting rid of a bunch of stuff. Accepting those rejection letters when you're going through that moment of like, dang, I suck is really difficult. I just kept on getting pounded back to back to back with these rejection letters. And even though I met all the criteria, I was told they went with a better candidate. And there's always somebody better than you, always. Never forget that. Never be harsh on yourself. Sometimes people get better positions than you, and sometimes it's sheer luck. Another thing that I wanted to talk about too is that sometimes there's internal candidates, and as someone who used to hire and promote people in my previous roles, I can tell you that having an internal candidate who wants a supervisory role, which is the roles that I was going for, is just better because they know the policy, they know their way around the company, they know what they're doing. They've had a supervisor that has been mentoring them internally. So it is better to promote internally if that person is appropriate for that role. So I completely understand that. But I think in my head, I started to see myself as a bad option, bad option, bad option, lack of skills. But what skills? I meet every single criteria. So I couldn't identify it. And then I just told myself, you know what? This isn't for you. Rejection is good. Because of all the rejection, I was able to apply to the VRNE program and I got accepted. And now I'm going for my MSW and I'm still unemployed. But rejection sometimes comes in a lot of disappointment. It humbles you and then somehow it works out. For me, it worked out. It's really difficult when your friends are thriving and you're not, and y'all were thriving together, and now you're the one that's out of work and they're still thriving. It's not like it's hard to be happy for them. I think you're just so stressed out about like your situation that you tend to forget just how successful they are. That can mean that you're cutting back on spending time with them, which I did. That can mean that you disappear into your bed for months, which I did, and it's very depressing because you just feel like the loser of the group, you know? You don't feel like you're a part of it. You can no longer do the things that you used to do, for example, going out to concerts or going out places. Like when I used to hang out with my friends, I didn't care before when again, I was living way below my means. So I could afford to do things like go to a concert, buy the ticket, pay for the parking, and it wasn't a big deal. But now I can't do any of that stuff. So the things that we bonded over, the things that we were having a good time doing as a group, I can no longer be a part of that group because I have to cut back on more things. And so it becomes really frustrating. And you see these things on social media, people are going out, you see them having a really good time, and you just become frustrated with the fact that you can't do that anymore. It's a change of lifestyle, and you're so used to doing something one way. And I know that this is going to sound very entitled. People are probably going to be like, well, you're lucky you even get to do those things. Opportunity has presented itself to me. And this is the first time in my life that I haven't had that. So I don't know what I don't know. And now I'm having to realize that I can't do any of these things anymore. I'm just stuck here applying for jobs, going for walks. That's my life. Cooking, applying for jobs, going for walks. That's all I can afford to do. So it becomes really stressful when you live a specific type of lifestyle and you can't do that anymore. Another thing too is that I came in contact with some of my old coworkers, and it was hard because they're thriving, they're doing well, and it makes you feel again like a loser. Like you just feel like I wasn't selected to stay. And even though maybe there was no rhyme or reason, I'm still unemployed. I haven't been able to find a job. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. And my friends are thriving and they're doing really well, but I'm not. I'm still struggling to get a job. I'm not struggling financially. Mentally, I'm struggling. Mentally, I'm trying to cope. And they're stressed out because of work. And believe it or not, I miss that. I miss work stress. Not being stressed costs even more stress because I'm so used to that. And it just goes to show you, like, again, the mentality of like how we have been conditioned to accept work stress. Stress in your life is good when it's in moderation, but I don't know, I kind of miss the hustle of working. I love working. And sometimes too, like, I think these companies, the way that they hire or the way what they want from you through a job application, I kind of get where they're coming from because they probably get like tons of candidates. But I also sometimes feel like it's a lot. Why one application takes me 3 hours is beyond me. Like, that's crazy. And if I have to go through several rounds of interviews, I just lose focus. I lose track. I sometimes would forget who I applied to, and I would get a letter of rejection. I'd be like, oh, I forgot that I applied there. It's good feedback now because I'm looking at the job application. I'm looking at this, and they're saying that they went with somebody else who has better experience, or they have, they have a better candidate. And I'm like, okay, well, good for them, right? Like, I don't know what to say about that, but it's disappointing for you, but you're happy for somebody else because somebody else got a job and they were able to secure that. Anyways, I say all of this because it has been difficult. It has not been easy. Um, and now I have to get ready to move to a whole new city by myself. I don't know anybody there. And I've built my life here. I have my friends here. I have my social group here. I've learned how to be frugal here. And now I have to take all of those skills and transfer them over to a new city where it's going to be a little bit more difficult, or I don't know, it's going to come with different challenges, a new job, going to school. But the thing is, I'm going to be there by myself. So maybe it's a good thing that I won't have the distractions of like my group of friends, because honestly, my group of friends, they are wonderful. They are fun. I'm going to miss being here, but I can always come back and visit. And I know that I'm not going to just lay down and give up, you know? Um, Things are looking really positive now. I'm in the background investigation phase of another job. These jobs take a really long time to hire because I am working with families and children. So anybody in that profession understands that you go through an extensive amount of paperwork just to get hired. And so these things happen, you know? Um, I think that I will continue to have a unemployment plan from now on. I think that this unemployment plan thing really works. I think next time I'm going to have to up that savings though and really sacrifice a little bit more. I hope that I'm able to have a really nice chunk of change in the bank or put it into more investments so that if this happens to me again, I'm able to walk away. And even though my ego will be hurt, I can kind of go through this process again. Now that I've went through this and now that I've learned from this, I think that it will be easier if it happens again. I am prepared next time, and I will continue to live below my means and continue to enjoy myself. I will continue to find things to do. And because I'm an outdoor person, there's always things to do. There's camping, there's hiking, there's walks, there's swimming, there is paddle boarding. And I think that kind of helps me is that Yeah, yeah. I'll just leave it there.